What's up, family? I hope everybody's well. Welcome to the 113, where I'm just thinking out loud.
It's a chilling thought because we're becoming a nation of people who are propagandized from elementary school right on through to the graduate school in a certain vision of the world. And only the ones who, for one reason or another, either experience or insight or whatever, leads them to say, wait a minute. Only those are the ones that we have to depend on.
Now, I'm just thinking out loud, but I want to talk about something that I believe is very important, and I don't believe enough people are aware of it, and I don't believe enough people are paying attention to it. Now, I want to check out a couple videos with you, but first I want to say this. If I wanted to destroy an enemy, would it be more effective for me to do it by force, or would it be more effective for me to pretend like I was a friend of the enemy and then take the enemy over from within and destroy the enemy from within? Of course, it'll be easier to do it from within rather than force, because if you use force, you're going to face resistance. But if you pretend like you're a friend of the enemy, then there's no possibility of resistance. I bring this up because this is what I believe. With all of the negative things that are going on the planet today, not just in America, and I don't have to get into it, you have to ask yourself, what is going on? So when you're trying to understand what's going on, you got to look at the root cause of it. And I believe that America is experiencing the transformation of society by the destructive ideologies of communism.
I'm a communist.
And I want more people to be aware of it, because if you don't understand what communism is, what socialism is, what Marxism is, what fascism is, if you don't understand what these things are and what they mean and the changes that they're trying to implement, then you will not recognize it when it actually happens or tries to creep into your culture. You won't even know it.
Roughly 1 in 5 young Americans now holds a favorable view of communism. What do you do with that datum?
Well, I think I get very pessimistic. More recently, during the election, all this enthusiasm for Bernie Sanders was taking place while people in Venezuela, under a socialist government, with lots of oil,
A rich country, a rich in natural resources country.
Rich in natural resources country, was starving. They were breaking into grocery stores to get desperate to get food. They're going into other countries to try to find something to eat. And the two things never came together. I mean, they saw socialism as an idea. Socialism has always been a wonderful sounding idea. It's only when you put it into practice that you discover that there are real problems.
Now, before I go any further, I want you to check out this video from an interview with the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele. He did an interview on Tucker Carlson. Check it out.
And that's why I tweeted one time that the USA is too powerful to be destroyed from the outside. Actually, geographically, nobody can invade the U.S., the United States. Nobody. I mean, even if huge armies will collude and want to attack the U.S., it's impossible. I mean, you have to cross all the ocean, all the Pacific Ocean and all the Atlantic Ocean just to get to the shore. I mean, it's impossible, right? And the U.S. has military bases, so it's impossible. So the only way the U.S. can fail, and this is not my. This is not my analysis. This was made by presidents before, by U.S. presidents before.
Woodrow Wilson is one of them. I'm gonna get into that in this video, so stick around.
This is not my analysis. This was made by presidents before, by U.S. presidents before. The demise of the U.S. has to come from within. Right? The enemies have to be inside, not really outside. No external enemy can cause so much damage as internal. It's an internal operation. You're watching internal operations here. You can see them in cities that were pristinely beautiful 30 years ago are wastelands right now. You would see people, I mean, I'm from El Salvador, a third world country in Central America. And myself, I can see cities here and say, I wouldn't live here. So that would be unthinkable 3 decades ago. Totally unthinkable. That a Salvadoran wouldn't want to live in a U.S. city, in a U.S. main city. I mean, Los Angeles, San
New York,
Francisco,
Chicago, yeah.
Well, Philadelphia, Baltimore.
He said 30 years ago it would have been unthinkable. But now today, even people from third world countries, you ask them, do they want to go to cities like New York, LA, San Francisco, Chicago? They're like, hell no, because they turning this junk into a third world country. And a lot of the citizens here don't even see the transition and take place. But this man from El Salvador, and he can see what's going on. He know what's going on. The problem is all of the American citizens have to know what's going on.
When you look how the cities are eroding so fast, this has to be by design. I mean, who would make so many stupid decisions? Like, okay, we're gonna give you money for drugs. Really, they're doing that. In some cities, they're giving people drugs. I mean, they're literally giving people drugs in some U.S. cities. Or they say, okay, we're gonna give you money if you don't work. Or we're gonna, they make all of these laws that make no sense. Or if they have a high crime, okay, I have a solution. Let's defund the police, right? They make this analysis here. And you see all these campaigns, defund the police. You will see these campaigns of, let's allow shoplifting up to this amount. They make these decisions openly. I mean, it's not even a secret. They make it. They make them openly. And we all know what would be the consequence of it. It's like, I always use this example. I know the U.S. Grows a lot of corn, but in El Salvador we do grow some corn, and we also grow beans. So I always make the example that you can either plant corn or you can plant beans. It's fine, but you cannot plant corn and expect beans to show up, or you cannot plant beans and expect corn to show up. So if you plant a defunding of the police, allow for shoplifting, give drugs to drug addicts, give money for people to stop work, what would be the consequence of it? You will destroy the society, you will destroy the city, you will destroy the economy. And it's not only a logical thing to think, it's already happening. And when they see more problems, they say, oh, so we need more of the same solutions that caused these problems in the first place. And they enact more of them. So they have more problems. And they enact more of the same solutions that cause those problems. They have more problems. So you would think these people, they can be so dumb. Of course they're not. They're smart. They're very smart people. So why are they doing these things? Because it's by design.
I agree with him. It's by design. You have to understand, when you celebrate the 4th of July, what are you celebrating? You're celebrating the American principles, which are based on individual rights, private property, and natural law. Rights that are God-given, that come from God and not the government. The Constitution for the United States of America does not give anyone rights. It guarantees natural rights that pre-exist government.
Because natural rights are owned by individuals, by persons, not collectively, not by groups, not by the government, but by individuals. That is at least the theory of the Declaration of Independence and the theory of the Constitution, and was at least the theory of the framers, the founding generation of the United States of America. Regrettably, it is no longer the theory today, and this assault on natural rights began immediately.
Now, socialism is based on benefits and privileges that are granted by the state, can be given by the state, and can be taken away by the state. And socialism disregards the concept of natural rights given by God. Socialism is the transitioning period between a free country and outright communism. And a democracy is a gateway into socialism. See, a lot of people don't understand. Here in the United States of America, we don't have a democracy. We have a republic.
You are governing against the best interest of your country. And ladies and gentlemen, what we hear all day around this place is, they're trying to destroy democracy. Because they have a disagreement, have a political disagreement. They're trying to destroy democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a republic. Madam Speaker, this is a republic.
But let's look at what socialism means. Socialism is a political philosophy and movement encompassing a wide range of economic and social systems which are characterized by social ownership of the means of production as opposed to private ownership. Socialism, a political and economic theory of social organization which advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole. We want a real democratic, pluralist, left party, Democratic Party, one which unites all of those who believe in socialism. Socialism, a policy or practice based on the political and economic theory of socialism. The debate over whether to move away from free markets and towards socialism. In Marxist theory, a transitional social state between the overthrow of capitalism and the realization of communism. Socialism is the first stage of the worldwide transition to communism. So you have it right there. Socialism is the transition to communism. Now I want to share with you a document from President Woodrow Wilson back in 1887. I'm not going to read the entire document. You can find it for yourself. The name of the document is called Socialism and Democracy by Woodrow Wilson, 1887. But the parts I want to read are relevant to what I'm saying. So I'll start right here. The thesis of the state socialist is that no line can be drawn between private and public affairs which the state may not cross at will. That omnipotent of legislation is the first postulate of all just policy theory. Applied in a democratic state, such doctrine sounds radical, but not revolutionary. It is only an acceptance of the extremist logical conclusions deductible from democratic principles long ago received as respectable. For it is this is a very important part right here, for it is very clear that in fundamental theory, socialism and democracy are almost, if not quite, one and the same. They both rest at the bottom upon the absolute right of the community and determine its own destiny and that of its members. Men as communities are supreme over men as individuals. See, the beauty of the foundational principles of the American Constitution is that you have individual rights, and that includes private property. Now, individual rights mean that you are free to do whatever you wish to do as long as you do not infringe upon another's right. So the law of the land, which is the Constitution, means that I can do whatever I wish to do as long as I'm not hurting or harming or injuring or taking from someone else. That's what we are celebrating on the 4th of July. But socialism and communism does not respect individual rights. It's all about the group. The germinal conceptions of democracy are as free from all thought of a limitation of the public authority as are the corresponding conceptions of socialism. The individual rights, which the democracy of our own century has actually observed, were suggested to by a political philosophy radically and individualistic, but not necessarily democratic. Democracy is bound by no principle of its own nature to say itself nay as to the exercise of any power. Here, then lies the point. This is another very important part right here, and then I'll finish with this document. It says, the difference between democracy and socialism is not an essential difference, but only a practical difference. It is a difference of organization and policy, not a difference of primary motive. So what I want everyone to understand is that democracy, socialism, fascism, communism, Marxism are pretty much all one and the same. They take different avenues or different ways to achieve the goal, but it's all going to end up in the same way, and that's a limitation on your freedom and the destruction of your natural and God-given rights and replaced with state-given rights that states can take away. And when I say state, that only means the government. So if you subscribe to socialism, that's your choice, but I believe that you should at least know what it is. Because if you don't protect your rights, you can't expect anyone else to protect your rights. Again, in a republic, you have natural, individual, God-given rights that cannot be taken away by the government because the government didn't give you those rights. In a socialist democracy, you have benefits and privileges, permission slips. Natural law, which is what the Constitution is based on reason, doing what is correct. Democratic socialism is based on passion, doing whatever feels good, even though it may be destructive to yourself. And if you do the research, you'll also find out that a republic is based on God-given rights, and socialism is trying to abolish all religion. That's one of the foundational principles of socialism. Get rid of all religion. That's why you should read the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx. It'll tell you right there. They're trying to abolish private property, abolish all religion. And then when you go to the World Economic Forum and understand they don't hide it. What are the core principles of the Economic Forum? Let me see. You can go to the World Economic Forum website and it'll tell you that the core principles of their agenda is the abolition of private property and personal privacy, which is totally against the principles of America. We have the right of privacy, the elimination of fossil fuels, a global transition away from animal protein to an insect-based food system. Yes, you can verify it if you don't already know. They want to have us eating insects.
Tyson has reached an agreement for a twofold investment with Protix. It's a leading global insect ingredients company. That investment will support the growth of the emerging insect ingredient industry and expand the use of insect ingredient solutions. Tyson and Protix also joining together for the operation and construction of an insect ingredient facility. Once that is complete, it'll be the first at-scale facility of its kind.
The supermarket chain is considering selling edible insects to help families afford protein. This stuff drives me nuts, Esther.
It's absolutely disgusting. I'm sure Bill Gates is over the moon because that's been the plan all along, to get us to stop eating normal food and to eat bugs while the elite at the top eat their Wagyu beef and lobster and watch all the peasants at the bottom eat insects and rats because it will save the planet, apparently.
Exactly. Well, it won't be on my menu. I hope it's not on yours.
One of the main principles, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. They say it's going to be a renter-based society, so you're going to rent everything. It's like when you hit it's like a paywall for everything. You know how you go to a website and you're trying to look at some information and then a big pop-up come up. They say, okay, you got to see the rest of it. They'll give you a little clip. And then to see the rest of it, you got to pay $2.99 a month like that or something like that. They're going to have us paying for everything. If you want the heated seats in your car, that'll be another $10 a month. When you purchase a car, you still got to pay $10 a month. I mean, you're going to be paying for everything. If you're going to own nothing and be happy, just like the World Economic Forum says, then you're going to be renting everything. They are trying to create a continuous flow of revenue and income, which is actually enslaving the planet. But they are doing it in a slow and subtle way where they have miseducated and misinformed the people, and actually they have dumbed society down where we don't even recognize it, and we're going to be easily able to be forced to accept it. Because if you don't understand your rights, you won't be able to protect your rights, and you will be highly susceptible to giving your rights away. So no one actually has to take your rights away from you. They are socially engineering society in a way that you will willingly give up your rights.
If they belong to us as human beings, like my fingers belong to me, then they cannot be taken away by majority vote. They cannot be taken away by legislation. They cannot be taken away by the command of the executive. They can only be taken away if I give them up myself.
Now, once again, don't believe what I'm saying. Check out this next video with me, because this next video, it speaks for itself.
I'm the first Black Lives Matter organizer elected to public office. So as a Southern Black Native socialist, I want to welcome all of you to the city of Atlanta and to the South. We're going to run candidates and we're going to win. People love to go to the extreme of our extreme and say that we want to, like tomorrow, we want to get rid of all property ownership, right? We want to dismantle all corporations, and we do. But we don't have to do that tomorrow. There are 100 steps between here and there. And what I've learned as a Southern organizer is that Southern people are practical people, and that Black people are naturally socialists.
See, these socialist policies are marketed to us as if they are something that will improve your life or improve society. But when the policies are put in place, it leads to less freedom and less of your control over your own life and more control of your life in the hands of the state. Now, before I go, because I don't want this video to get too long, but I want you to check out another short video. Because that guy in the last video, didn't he say he was a BLM organizer?
I also think that it might, I think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories.
Ideological theories. She says she was a trained Marxist. The BLM was mostly funded by someone who's not even black. And I'm not even going to get into what their nationality is. And I don't have a problem with you being a Marxist. What I'm saying is, this is not a Marxist, socialist, communist country. This is a republic, and the citizens in this country better wake up and protect and realize what their rights are and what type of country this is.
So there's where you go with that. And the other thing is, it's just absolutely intolerable for these folk to try to lapse back to 1932 and impose the methodology of the National Socialist Workers' Party. The German acronym for National Socialist Workers' Party is Nazi, Nazi. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to thwart the will of the American public, and that's why we have the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments, to keep that from happening.
If you like Marxism and socialism, then you can easily go to a country where they are already doing that and they accept that. But don't try to change what this country is. That's all I'm saying. Once again, thank you for tuning in to the 113, where I'm just thinking out loud. If you got any value from this video, please hit the like, subscribe, and of course share.